Welcome to the Friday Show. I have a few stories I want to run through before we move on to other things, including your questions. We talked last week about the continued possibility that Donald Trump will start his own political party. We also saw a poll showing that nearly 2/3 of Republican voters are, in theory, willing to leave the Republican Party and follow Trump to a new party. Now, of course, if Donald Trump started a new party, and forget about 64%, if Donald Trump took 50% or 40% or even 30% of Republican voters to a new party, it could spell absolute disaster for the American right, splitting the vote and allowing the Democratic Party to win a lot, to take a phrase out of Donald Trump's vocabulary. There's now another new story, and this is being reported by Reuters. There are dozens of former Republican officials who view the Republican Party as unwilling to stand up to Donald Trump. So this is an anti-Trump group of former Republican officials. And what these individuals are saying is, if the Republican Party won't stand up to Trump and say, no, we reject Trumpism and we reject Trump, they are in discussions to break away from the Republican Party and start their own. And this includes former officials in the Republican administrations of Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, as well as even disaffected Trump aides and staffers and political employees. This includes some ex-Republican ambassadors. This includes some Republican strategists and others. And 120 of them had a Zoom call, of course, last Friday, to have a conversation about this. And the idea is they would say the Republican Party has become the party of Trump. We are getting back to principled conservatism, as they call it. What that means is pretending to care about the debt and deficit. Let's not mistake that for anything else. But it doesn't matter because, again, this could also be an absolute and total disaster for the Republican Party. One of the people involved is Evan McMullin. You might remember he ran third party in 2016, former CIA agent, I believe. And he is part of this movement for a possible splinter party. I have to tell you that this is fantastic news. Imagine if we got, but these would be two gifts. If you've got the Republican Party, and within it, you have people who want to stick with Trump and people who want the Republican Party to completely denounce and distance from Donald Trump. You could have a situation where so-called principled conservatives in the Republican Party split off and start their own party to get away from Trump. And at the same time, Donald Trump starts his own party and takes the hyper pro-Trump people away as well. So you could end up with the Trump Party taking away from the Republican Party, the principled conservative former Republicans who are anti-Trump splitting off from the Republican Party. And then I guess what you'd have left in the Republican Party are just generally people not paying much attention or who don't really feel strongly one way or the other. And they just want to keep voting for people like, I don't know, Lindsey Graham. And then they stay, and you could have a Republican Party split three ways. I have no interest in giving advice to these folks about what they should do. I simply recognize the mathematical realities that even if Trump splits off and takes 15% of the party, and these principled conservatives split off and take 10 or 15% of the party, that creates a situation in which Republicans, as we know them, or in any of these new iterations, don't win for a decade. And if there would ever be an opportunity for the left to make progress in the United States, it would be that. Now, unfortunately, the Democratic Party has shown itself so often to be so incompetent that it would probably still end up being a challenge for a Democratic Party, given the gift of a Republican Party divided three ways. It would probably still end up being an uphill battle for the modern Democratic Party to make progress, but at least they'd have the opportunity. We'll follow it. Very, very interesting stuff. One of our sponsors is Four Sigmatic, the company best known for their delicious mushroom coffee. Four Sigmatic's mushroom coffee is organic, fair trade, single origin Arabica coffee with both lion's mane and chaga mushrooms. Chaga mushrooms have actually been shown to have potential in supporting the immune system in peer-reviewed studies. I've been drinking Four Sigmatic coffee a lot lately. It actually doesn't taste anything like mushrooms. It just tastes like any delicious coffee. but it's really easy on my stomach, doesn't give me any jittery feeling or a midday crash. And they have over 20,000 5-star reviews. And best of all, if you don't love it, you'll get 100% of your money back because they stand behind their product. You've got nothing to lose by giving it a try. Four Sigmatic is giving my audience up to 40% off and free shipping when you go to foursigmatic.com/Pakman. The link is right underneath this video.